Hi, my name's Hannah and I'm working on my first graphic novel. After spending the best part of a year writing and planning the story, I'm now at the stage where I need to start conceptualizing how this thing is going to look. For a little bit of context, the story follows a pawn called Dawn and her epic quest across the Isle of Bordonia to return an ancient relic to its rightful owner. Bordonia is split into 6 different factions, and each one is centered around a different classical board game. So I'm on my own quest to discover what each of these factions are going to look like, from the people, fashion, the buildings, and anything in between that differs from Dawn's normal world. In my last video, I did a creature design for the faction known as Sage, and with the help of my randomizer, this time I'm going to be looking at weapons designs for a different faction known as Blanche. Blanche's district is all about sweet treats and baked goods, so I'm going to try and stick with a candy/sweet theme for this weapon design. The character wielding this weapon is considered a tank. They're a bit of a bruiser, a roughhouser, and have a very boisterous personality. When I initially thought about this character, I pictured them wielding a massive cleaver. However, this was before I decided to focus down the aesthetics to just sweet treats, so a massive cleaver doesn't really seem to work with the aesthetics that I've chosen for this particular faction. Instead, I decided to focus on bread knives as I felt they were more closely associated with baking and Blanche's aesthetics. Side note, I got sick halfway through editing this video, so unfortunately my voice from here on out is going to sound a little bit nasally and a little bit bunged up. I apologise for anyone that has an issue with that. For anyone that doesn't have an issue with it, or potentially likes it, then yeah, stick around. Anyway. Once I had a knife that I could focus on, I experimented with different shapes. I tried different kind of handle shapes, some that curved outwards, some that curved inwards. I tried different lengths of blades as well. I tried messing around with different design features to see if swirls would work. Maybe I wanted it to look a little bit more violent. I was playing around with quite a few things, and then I started adding more kind of Candyland sweet-natured elements to them. Things like ribbons, bows, I think there's cherries and ruffles. A few elements as well to make some candies recognisable on the designs as well. But I did try to make sure that they were all recognisable as weapons. Some of them were pretty good, some of them missed the mark a little bit. But once I had 3 that I liked, I made one final Frankenstein design that took the best elements from each of the previous sketches. Once I had the 4 initial designs, like any good designer, I decided to get some initial feedback and asked a friend which of the 4 designs they preferred, which looks like this. Unfortunately, like a bad friend, I decided to ignore their advice and chose the Frankenstein design instead. The reason I chose design number 4 and not design number 2 is because I felt design number 2 did not match the character. This weapon is definitely an extension of the character's personality, and like I mentioned before, they're tankish, they're boisterous, and number 2 just felt a little bit too feminine for the character that would be wielding it. So I decided to go with a heavier weapon, more square, it looks stronger, it looks heavier, and it matches the character's personality just that little bit more. Once I was happy with the design I chose and the colours that I had to play around with, I went in and did the final line work and colouring for the weapon. I'm glad that I chose to go away from the cleaver design and had that serrated blade that matched a bread knife. I think that works quite well. All of the candy elements on here tie it really selectively to that specific district as well. The colours as well was something that I kind of struggled with at the beginning, but I'm glad that I went with a more limited palette. I think the cherry and the bow, although they are kind of like little unnecessary details, they do bring the stripes of the candy cane frame out that little bit more. I also decided to draw the weapon mid-swing just because I'm a little bit out of practice with motion and movement in still imagery. So this is a weapon that is going to be swung around quite a bit in Blanche's specific chapter. So I wanted to try and practice that kind of swing and motion through the weapon. And it's not bad. I think I could probably do a little bit better here and there. I'm sure as I play around with angles and start doing more reference sheets for these designs, it will come into play a little bit more. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the final design. Ta-da! The second video done and another piece of concept art ticked off my list for my graphic novel. I had a lot of fun on this one. Prop design is not something that I usually do a lot of, so this was a rare treat for me. I don't think that the wheel is going to be this generous to me as these videos come out in the future. So any interaction with this video, whether it be a like or a comment, even subscribing as well, would be greatly appreciated. If you haven't seen my first video, I recommend going back and watching that one too, just for a little bit more context on the story and a better introduction to the project itself that I'm working on. For now though, I want to say a massive thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.